But there's a woman. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. It's a woman that basically dropped a video on YouTube, and I'm going to give her credit. So let me pull up the video very, very shortly before I say Teach Hanley 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Teach. Make sure you get to Teach Hanley. Ladies, don't delay. Fellas, don't wait for your ladies to go and get it for you. Make sure y'all support the sponsor of the show, Teach Hanley. I love Teach Hanley personally. Also, on top of that, make sure you tap into the Patreon. I just dropped a video based off of the pitches that people gave me, in which we're sending out over $21,000 at the beginning of next week. As long as we get all of y'all information and the emails, make sure y'all check y'all emails for those of y'all that pitch me. We sending out all of the checks next week, so that should be cool. Hopefully electronically. Some of y'all might have to get regular mail depending on what you say, but yeah, we're going to get there. So a woman basically said that she was quitting her $275,000 a year job. It's over $250,000 a year, ladies and gentlemen. That's over $250,000 a year, ladies and gentlemen. The woman's name is Simone B. B's Government, Tech, and Lifestyle. Again, she has 21,000, almost 22,000 subscribers. Recently dropped this video. It came across my algorithm. Her name is Simone with a Y. B's. We want to give her a little bit of a shout out. If you go over to her channel and you tap into her comments, make sure you tell her that Anton from AntonDaniels.com reviewed her video and sent you over there her way. But she said she recently quit, not got fired, not got laid off. She says she recently quit her $275,000 a year job. All right. So I want to go into this. I want to share it with you guys, and I want to review it in real time. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's see what she got to say.
I quit my $275,000 year tech
Speed it
job.
up a little
Yes,
bit.
the job was good. Yes, the money was great. And yes, I could have gotten paid even more. But as you'll soon find out, I still dropped it all and said, I gotta go. I'm making this video for anybody who was in the same position that I was in when the thought of quitting my high-paying tech job first crossed my mind. If this sounds like you, you're not alone, and it's okay to quit. And for those who have yet to get their first 100K plus year tech job, take this video as a reminder that sometimes money does not justify sticking around. Odds are you might get put in the same position that I was in your tech career. You might end up landing that tech job that you always wanted, only to realize that it's just a pair of golden handcuffs. So stick around. I'm going to give you the full rundown of why I quit. If you've been following me on social media,
Golden handcuffs for a lot of you guys, and I've spoken about it a lot on my channel, even with regard to a lot of my life that I've been documenting along this journey. Golden handcuffs is largely basically you wanting to leave, but you not being able to leave because of how much money you're making or the benefits or whatever it is that they're offering, combined in a package that's basically preventing you from quitting a job because it's so lucrative. And so it basically stops you from being able to start your own business or fulfill your passion or whatever it is that you're supposed to do, right? Golden handcuffs is what people usually refer to as, and a lot of CEOs say it, they stick around a lot longer than they probably want to inside of an environment because they're golden, but they're handcuffs. They're preventing you from going on and doing other things that maybe you would be more successful at, maybe you have a greater purpose of doing, but you got to get to that bag. And so the gold is what keeps you locked into whatever it is that you're doing. I'm going to go ahead and let it play for a little bit because I want to get the full context of what she's saying.
for a while, you know that I do not get personal, and in this video I'm going to get very personal and share details about my life that I've never shared on social media before. But if you don't know who I am, let me first get into why I took this job and how I landed a $275,000 a year tech job in the first place. Jobs like this come around once every blue moon, so I had to take advantage of it. I got referred this job from one of my friends who was a staff member inside of my community, so he told me about this job and let me know that it was 100% remote. It was a job for a GovTech cybersecurity startup. They gave equity, they gave bonuses, and they had an extremely high base salary. So it seemed like the perfect job for me and something that I had always been looking for. I've been working in the GovTech industry my entire life, literally since I was 16 years old, and I had never heard of GovTech startups. So when my friend told me about this startup and how they were paying a super high salary and they were giving equity, I felt like I finally hit the jackpot. So here's a rundown of the pay structure. My base salary was $175,000 a year. I had a 10% yearly bonus. I also was able to get equity equity in the company as well. This is a pre-IPO company, and it was already considered a unicorn company. And they focused on cybersecurity in a niche that was really in high demand and a niche that was a part of the Gartner hype cycle. So I figured that this company was a great opportunity for me to come in, get some shares, and get equity in a company that was planning to IPO soon. On top of all of that, the role was 100% remote. So for this to be a GovTech role and it's 100% remote, and with everything all in together, it was coming out around $275,000 a year salary. I felt like I couldn't beat this. It literally had it all. It also had amazing benefits as well. Healthcare was completely free as a single person. We were able to get our cell phone taken care of, our internet taken care of. We got brand new MacBook computers. Literally anything that you could think of, they had it at this company with this role. So it was so much flexibility and a great opportunity. So I had to jump on it.
I'm assuming that there's going to be a very, 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 very good explanation behind this. I mean, listen, I had to take my glasses off of this one. I'm assuming that there has to be an incredible explanation. Shout out to Simone. Shout out to Simone B. Make sure y'all tap in with her. I've never reviewed her stuff before. I've never seen her stuff before, but I'm definitely becoming aware of it. It's got to be an incredible. All right, so let me break this down for you guys. $175,000 in base pay. Okay, 10% bonus, which is basically 17.5. All right, that doesn't even put you at 200,000. And I talk about this in the Patreon on a regular basis. When you're negotiating a lot of these salaries based off of the position that you're getting, you want equity, because equity is not even based off of what it's going to be, is based off of the current valuation of the company. Meaning that if it's pre-IPO, that's how you get incredibly rich. If it's a unicorn company, that means that the value of the company is going to skyrocket, especially after it IPOs, an initial public offering, meaning that it's going to go to the stock market. It's going to go from a private company over into a public company, meaning that the value of those shares is probably significantly more in the future, depending on what the IPO price is, if it's truly a unicorn company. So, free healthcare, ooh wee. I don't even know no company that give free healthcare no more. I can't think of one company that I know personally that gives free healthcare and 100, and that's the cherry on top. That made me skip around like a little kid, because you know these remote jobs is kind of going away. When you're talking about they trying to move into hybrid roles and making you come back into the company and stuff, and you yo, listen, I'm sitting here with this laptop right here from my regular job. I am very much in a golden handcuff type of situation. But it's a little bit different for me because it doesn't actually slow down what it is that I'm doing on a regular basis, right? But look, everything that she said seems like it's just lined up for you to just get a bag on top of a bag and on top of a bag and on top of bags. You know what I'm saying? Let me hear the rest of the story.
While working at the company, I was able to work with a lot of different government agencies. I had great customers. I had so much experience working at this company where I was able to come in and learn their product inside and out, work with the best government agencies that you could think of, and even go to different conferences where I could learn even more about cybersecurity and also meet with my teammates as well. So we would have in-person company retreats, and some of them
Shout
would
out to the
even
Rainbow Kids, said that they company provide free healthcare.
be overseas. It was just so much opportunity and so many good things about this company. I really couldn't complain whatsoever. On top of that, my team was full of amazing people. Everybody had a different experience, but everybody was
Let's keep an
extremely
open
nice,
mind,
and they were
guys.
all willing to help you to learn new things. While I was at the company, I was actually cross-training to become a sales engineer at the company as well. So that was actually my next move. I had the opportunity to make around $500,000 a year as a sales engineer at this company. So I figured
Oof. Ooh, sound like a good job to me. Sound like, you know me. You know, you start speaking that money, my shoulders start getting up. I start dancing. Ain't nothing like pay. Listen, it don't matter how small the payday is. When I see that money hit my account, we do the money dance. Money dance. Money dance. $500,000. Ooh, Simone, baby girl, you gonna have to give me a good explanation of what's going on out here in these streets.
Figured it could not get any better than this. This role was unlike any other role that I ever had before. I was finally on the tech sales side in the government technology sector. This is what I always had dreamed of. My title while working for this company was Senior Federal Technical Account Manager, also known as a TAM. And TAM roles are fairly new within the past 10 years. So to get into these roles, you have to have a great technical expertise on whatever the product is that the company is selling to other either government customers or government agencies or government contractors. You have to be able to be very knowledgeable on it, and it's a customer facing role, so you have to be able to get along with the customer and be able to be that person that is building a relationship with them.
Somebody said, what type of dance is that, Anton? It's my happy dance. When you get a check, that's the happy dance, baby.
Sure that they're happy with the product and making sure that they renew and continue to buy the product year after year. So for me, I'm somebody who loves talking, as you can see. So I felt like this was a perfect way for me to eventually segue into a sales engineer role. While I was at the company, we even hosted our first conference. This was for all of our federal customers. So we held this conference at the Ronald Reagan building in DC. I was able to meet the CEO of the company, and he even shouted me out to the entire company.
I don't even want to skip past it. I want to skip past it to get to the part where she quit, but I just got to see the whole thing.
At one of our all hands-on meetings, so everything was amazing. But even though everything was going great at the company, I had a lot of personal things going on that I never really talked about that made it very hard for me to continue to show up and do a good job at work. I started working at this company in August 2022, and by December 2022, I had to have a major surgery. After having this surgery, I had to be on bed rest for about 2 months, and I couldn't go to the gym for 6 months. So that played a lot into my mental health at the time, and throughout this 6 months, while I was recovering from this surgery, my grandmother ended up passing away. So while I'm going through recovery process, my grandmother passes away. I'm trying to take care of myself and my family, going back and forth between Atlanta to Virginia, trying to make sure that everything was holding together so that we could continue to move forward as a family. On my mom's side of the family,
condolences. I know what it's like to lose a family member at the height of you trying to build up yourself and finally catching a wave. Happened to me in 2017, happened again. Actually, it happened to me twice. I talk about my father passing away in 2017, and it really didn't hit me. But a lot. I don't also talk about the fact that your grandmother passed away in 2017, literally, and my grandmother passed away on my father's side shortly before that. It was a lot going on at that time. My whole life seemed like it was in turmoil, but I held that shit together. I'm sorry for the people in the church. My bad. I held that thing together. I had to hold on. We had to hold on. We had to get through it. But condolences to her. I understand what she's going through, but let's continue.
we have a very small family, and it's just 5 of us. So losing my grandmother was a lot. So having to go through that process of losing my grandmother and trying to deal with that grief and just trying to also be there for work and for my customers, it became very difficult. There would be days where I'm at home grieving and literally crying all day, and I still have to show up for my customers, get on the calls, do different deployments and upgrades and checking in on them, making sure everything is good for them. But at the same time, I wasn't okay. And I feel like this is something that isn't talked about much when it comes to remote work. Having to deal with things going on in your personal life, you're working at home, you're at home going through things in your personal life, and you can't really get a break from any of it. So there's really no way for you to escape what's going on in your life because you're working at home 8 hours a day, and then you're at home for the rest of the day as well. So you're literally just sitting in your emotions, trying to process everything and still show up and perform 100% at work. So while I was trying to work through everything that was going on in my personal life, it really just felt like I was trapped in my own emotions. I wasn't able to process everything that was going on, especially because I had to continue to show up at work and be my full regular self, even though inside it was not that way. Inside, I was really struggling, trying to keep up with everything. As people know, I make social media videos too, so I took a very long break from making social media videos. Most people didn't realize it, but some people, they noticed that I stopped making these videos for the Project 50 series that I was doing. So I took a long break from making social media content, and I also wanted to take a break from work as well. While going through the healing process of my surgery and grieving my grandmother, I then started going through the process of a divorce. Going through a divorce isn't easy. At the time, I felt like this was a major failure in my life.
They hit her with the trifecta. Divorce, death, and you going through something as far as an injury. Let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something. I know that everybody is on this mental health kick, therapy, and grieving, and give me some time to get myself together. My coping mechanism with anything that go down in my life is actually to dive even deeper into work. Work makes me happy. Creating makes me happy. That is my coping mechanism. A lot of people they drown in their sorrows and stuff like that. The biggest thing for me is that I have to remain busy and engulfed in being productive because that is where life is. Life is around people. Life is being around people. Life is engaging. Life is continuing to push forward. Because I largely lean into the idea of let the dead bury the dead because that is a biblical thing, right? I took comfort in the idea that my father was no longer having to deal with all of the nonsense on this stupid earth, and my father died right before Christmas. He no longer had to deal with all of the. We the ones that's suffering down here. We the ones that's suffering. If you believe that your loved one is in a better place, then now I have to really go hard in order to finish and make them proud, right? So I I embrace going even harder and working my butt off because if you see me going harder, then it's a possibility that it may be something happening in my life that I have to deal with that you may not necessarily be familiar with. But I also have to take into consideration that at the end of the day, this is a woman. This is a woman. And women, in my opinion, have a much more difficult time, especially because they're much more emotional than men are. They have a much more difficult time being able to cope with a lot of the life changes and circumstances that come along with life events. It's different. It's just different. I'm not willing to leave. Listen, at the end of the day, in my mind, after all of this has passed, I'm still going to be sitting on the mountaintop when everything pass over. I know that mental health is supposed to be a real thing, and y'all tapping into therapy and all of that. My therapy is my success. My therapy is my success. The more I become successful, the better I feel as a result of all of these life events that I've then become a victor over. That's how I look at life. I'm just a different creature. I'm a different animal. If you ever want me to work harder, then get on me. Then say I'm not going to be able to do something. Let a life event happen. I'm going to go 10 times harder as a result of it.
And I don't handle failure very well. And when you go through a divorce, it's not an overnight thing. So it takes months. So it's months of back and forth of legal battles, months of back and forth of who's going to do what, who gets what, who is responsible for the divorce. It's just a lot of arguments, and I'm not an argumentative type of person. I'm really a laid back, relaxed person. So going through a divorce on top of grieving my grandmother was just too much for me to handle. So I had these three major things that I was dealing with all at the same time. And at some point, enough is enough. I can only take but so much. And I was not able to show up for work, show up on social media, and still show up for myself. So I figured it was time for me to try to take a vacation. I wanted to take a 4-month vacation from my job, and as anybody knows, I can't really take a 4-month vacation if I'm in a customer-facing role. And I hadn't been at the company for a year yet to try to do any long-term sabbatical or any type of mental health break. So I talked to my manager, let her know what was going on. She told me to take days off as I needed them, but I really needed at least 4 months off. I wanted to take off the rest of 2023.
No, don't do
Around
it.
the time that I started thinking about this vacation that I needed so I could actually take a mental break and focus on myself, there was an opportunity for a sales engineer role that became available, and I would have gotten paid $500,000 if I stuck around for it. But I had to prioritize my mental health, and I had to prioritize everything that was going on in my personal life before I could try to show up and be a sales engineer, because that is even more of a customer facing role. And I prefer sales engineering over a TAM role just because at that company as a TAM we did not get any commission. So since we didn't get commissions, we did not get those large checks like the sales engineers got. Even though I personally believe that TAMs should get paid a commission because we are a big reason why the customers end up renewing year after year. We're showing up, working with the customers on a weekly basis. I felt like we should get commission. So if I was working this hard, I figured I'd rather be a sales engineer and make the big bucks. Why would I not want to get paid $500,000 to do proof of concept and demos and go out and meet customers at different conferences? That's something that fits better with my personality, but they wouldn't let me go for the role because I hadn't been at the company for 12 months yet. Since quitting my job, I have prioritized mental health, and I've been going to a therapist every single week.
Oh my God. Oh my God. No, no, Simone. Baby girl. Baby girl. You need a real one in your life. You should have been a bag chaser, baby. I would have talked you off of that ledge. I would have talked you off of that ledge, baby girl. Hey, S. Dot. Come over here, man. Listen, you gonna be good in the morning. Make sure you call me in the morning. Get your butt up and get your back. Go get that. I'm not giving up my job for no therapist. You can forget it. Me, Time Dog does not believe in giving up his job for no therapist. You know what you can do. You know what you can do. I don't believe that mental health is unhealthy enough for me to give up my 275 or half of M a year for no therapist. I got retail therapy. That's how you fix that. We got listen, they got a therapist. His name is Javier over at Gucci. Javier over at Gucci can help us with this. Pamela over at the authorized Rolex dealer can help fix this problem. I promise you. Go buy a new car. Go get you a new Patek Philippe. Go do something. But we not quitting our job, and we don't believe in mental health to that extent. I'm not a believer in mental health to that. Listen, I'm compassionate. I love you. But me's, Harpo, what's mental health? I don't believe in mental health when it comes to it affecting my financial situation and my obligations. Mental health? Who's that, Harpo? Who's that mental at my door? I don't want nothing that got to do with mental at my door when it comes to messing up my money. What, my money? You could forget it. You could forget it. Flat out. I was hoping this didn't come to this. You know what I used to say? My dad wouldn't want me to quit my job. Not for him. Listen, if anybody in my family, if I'm that meaningful to you, soldier on. You got my permission right now. Don't quit your job for me. If something ever happened to me, you push. Use it as motivation. But if something ever happened to me, don't stop. Don't do it. You fix it when you get off of work. But while you at work, you put that time in, flat out.
She's been helping me process all of these emotions and everything that I go through because I have a lot of stress in my life. I have to be able to have some type of outlet and somebody who can help me with all of the things that I'm going through. I've also been able to prioritize having more fun instead of working all day long, because working at my job and making content and helping other people get into six-figure tech roles is an all-day job in itself. So there would be many days where I would be working 18 to 19 hours a day, working my full-time job and helping.
That's why they got weekends. That's why they call it the weekend. They got a whole artist named after it. That's why it's called weekends. Reading that super chat shortly, Victor.
Others get into tech. So now I'm able to manage my time better, and I'm finally going after the dreams that I've always wanted to go after. I'm building a government contractor company with my dad, and we are going to be going after government contracts. So I'm extremely excited to be able to do this with him because he has a lot of government tech experience. He has a lot of contacts in the government technology space, and he's a disabled vet. So that's going to allow us to get more opportunities while we're going after these contracts. So instead of me focusing on...
I understand you're going after the contracts, but I believe in an and, not an or. My life philosophy is and, not or. I believe that I can get all of the money. And if I could go out and make some additional monies more than what it is that I've already allocated my time to, don't think for 1 second that I'm turning one check down. I believe in and. I can do this and go after that at the same time until it is replacing fully what it is that I got going on over here. I believe in and, not or. Somebody in the church say amen. I believe in and, not or.
On being a sales engineer and making money for somebody else's company, I can focus on doing those same sales engineer tasks and do them for my own company. Why make millions for somebody else when I can do it for myself? When you get to the point of working in the GovTech space, and when you've been in this space for at least 10 years, most people end up cutting out the middleman, and the middleman is when you work for a government contractor company and they're getting paid 3 times what you're getting paid from your company. You can cut them out completely and start getting your own government contracts and putting all of that money into your own pocket. On top of building the government contracting company with my dad, I also have more time to spend on brand deals as well. I work with different Fortune 500 companies like Microsoft, AWS, ServiceNow, so many different companies that I've worked with over the past year, and now I'm making $30,000 to $50,000 a month making this tech content for these brands. So instead of me being stressed out trying to work my job and do these brand deals, now I can focus more on doing the brand deals and running my own company. I'm also building the biggest GovTech educational company out there.
Maybe it worked out for her. Maybe I'm off. For me, I want them both. I want the brand deals. I want the government contract. and I want my regular job. I actually have a video inside of the Patreon that speaks to how to solve for this so that you can continue to make $500,000 to $1 million a year based off of a very simple and a very easy life hack. The problem with people in a lot of instances is that they try to be Superman and Superwoman, and they try to do it all themselves instead of, well, I can't even really go into it because that's Patreon only content of how I leverage certain things in order to make an additional amount of money as a result of it. But my point is this, is that I don't have to sacrifice that. This is my thing. I don't have to, and congratulations to her. Get that bag, baby girl. Do your thing. Congratulations and all of that. I don't believe that I have to forego that in order to get this over here. The way that my brain works, my C student brain works, is I'm trying to understand how I can get that and that. Now, if I have to take a little less money in order to source it out appropriately, then I'm going to figure out how to do that or whatever. But I just believe in the and. I want every single dollar that's coming to me. I want it. I want it. But, if she making what, 4 to 5 to $600,000 a year as a result of what she's doing right now, she's still getting the bag. So do your thing.
There with the goal of training 1,000 people and helping them get into GovTech by the year 2025. I've helped hundreds of people get into GovTech and make 6 figures already. I figured that I might as well go all in on this and help as many people as possible. The work that I'm doing, educating people and helping them get into GovTech, is also allowing me to do enterprise educational deals as well. So I'm helping different enterprise companies build their learning curriculum to help their employees get into GovTech as well. So this is something that I'm extremely passionate about, and I'm extremely grateful to be able to help so many people and now help different companies as well train their employees get into the GovTech industry. To top it all off, I'm holding a major GovTech conference in DC next year that I cannot wait to share with you all. This conference is going to have
Nice. Good for her. Good for her. Shout out to Simone. Again, make sure that y'all go over to her channel. Her name is Simone B. Bees. That's Simone with a Y. B, you can see it right there at the top of her video. Bees, Beez. And then it's Gov, Tech, and Life. Go over there, tell her that I sent you. It's my first time ever seeing her. So she seems as though she got a lot of good insight. Shout out to her, and shout out for her for continuing to recover. I hope that her life is absolutely awesome. I'm always an advocate for people being successful and giving additional insight into what it is that we got going on. Maybe I can get her, maybe I'll do an interview with her.